Salamat po. Can you sit down? Thank you for the courtesy. Ako po'y membro rin ng Department of Justice many years ago, 1977 to 87, prior to my appointment as Vice Mayor of the city. Tapos in 1988. But I was a prosecutor of Davao City at that time. The yung predecessor, the Tanod Bayan, also appointed me as special prosecutor for the Tanod Bayan. So I got a lot of experiences yung panahon na yun, touring Mindanao, prosecuting cases, and I find myself back in the department where I started my career in government. The Secretary of Justice, Aguirre, the second, the members of the House of Representatives, officials and employees of the Department of Justice, mga kasama ko sa gobyerno, mga mahal ko na kababayan. No, it's raining hell outside. Cuts. Tapos, I get to read about 3 pages. Nabasa ako, tapos ito lang. You know, I think yet you deserve more. But more money, ibig kong sabihin, yung hinihingi ninyo, yun rin ang hinihingi namin. The perennial and maybe generational problem sa gobyerno is actually pera. And because of sometimes an enormous problem crops up in your life, huwag kayong ma-insulto, kulang talaga. If one gets to be, may mga ano sa pamilya, cancer, gano'n, talagang kulang. And I have experienced it also. But somehow we manage. Now, let me just be clear. There's a lot of publication about my millions. Kayong nakakilala sa akin from Davao, alam ninyo yan. But, you know, my father was governor when he died. At least alam niya maghanap buhay because we had a nice plant and a lumber yard. Construction was booming at the time in Davao. It was a developing city. But when he died, we could not agree with each other, the brothers and sisters, so we decided to sell all. Yung nakuha ko, substantial. At sinabi ko, if I authorize everybody as in everybody, to look, to dig into the IBA, Insular Bank of Asia and America, let's say the Union Bank now, you'd find there that yung fourth year pa kami, I had $1 million already. Yan ang totoo. So, yung naiingit, you know, I'm sorry if you are a son of a very poor, I don't know from where you come. Kami dumating sa Davao, hirap. We had to climb our way. And as a matter of fact, that space there between Ateneo and Davao, saka yung likod was a wetland noon. So kala ng tatay ko pwede doon, only to find out that Davao, in spite of the sloganeering of the Americans that go to Davao, go to Mindanao because it is a land of promise. Unfortunately, it was not really so. Davao City was already divided. May mga homestead na noon, like 7 hectares, 24 if you're a corporation. And so Davao was just owned by about, can count them, 7 families. And that is why yung squatting problem is very serious there. And Davao has on record, the highest of in the acquisition of lands. Kasi alam ko, in this sense that there was that promised land, but it could not apply to all. My father became governor, I became mayor, by destiny, maybe, and president. You know, in 1988, I became mayor. I never lost an election unto the presidency. Yan talaga ang historical ano ko. And I governed Davao for almost 23 years as mayor. And I challenge everybody. Go to Davao. It has posted the highest this year growth rate of 9%. When we took over the reins, just right after martial law, Davao was just growing economically by 2%. Ang growth rate ang sa human, ang mataas. So, because you know, the proximity Mindanao and the Visayas, a lot of them went there to find out and for the greener pasture. Some made it good, others became rich, enterprising, but mostly yung lupa ng Davao. It's a bit of history para malaman ninyo. Ang Tagalog, kasi yung Bureau of Lands, nandito. So when they started to, and I do not blame them. Actually, at that time, in the 48, 49, 50, we went there 48. Malaki masyado ang Davao. Well, because maliit ang tao. Now, Davao is so small because of there's 2 million people in it. And they need land. Kaya that's why pati ako, hindi naman nung sabihin na tumayo ang tatay ko doon na talaga wala kami matulugan. But he tried, kasi wetland eh. Pagatpatan ang tawag dyan sa Bisaya. So, yan. Pero kung abogado yung tatay ko, he practiced na. Kasi itong mga unbelieving, pati the dirty minds, wala akong magawa sa inyo. I mean, I am not, ayaw ko magyabang, pero yun hindi akin yun. And even during the campaign, 211 million. That's a bullshit. Alam mo, sa totoo lang, I've given the waiver. Kung tinignan lang nila noon, I was ready, and I am ready to step down. Now. Kung kami makaturo lang yan, totoo. Na meron akong deposit, baski $1 dyan sa Hong Kong, I will step down as President of this Republic. Wala akong problema dyan. I've always lived by, I would not call it, I lived by the values na nakuha ko sa tatay ko pati nanay ko. And that's the same thing that I giving to my children. Now, mahala na sila. Kanya-kanya na sila. Kaya isa, mayor na, nanununtok pa nga eh. Ewan ko kung may kaso yan hanggang ngayon dyan sa ombudsman. Pero yan ang totoo. I have to tell you the story. It's not a sad one. It's just a factual thing in my life so that we can understand each other. I was a prosecutor. And as a special prosecutor of the Ulat Bayan. Look at my records. Tingnan ninyo yung record ko. Tanong kayo ng mga taga-Davao. Let me just begin by saying that ito kasi yung EKJ, sinakyan talaga ng husto eh. But I hope that the Americans are here, especially those connected with the human rights, yung kanila, yung rights was, which is a Soros, kay Soros yun eh, yung manipulator ng currency. dapat pag-usapan natin because this is the first time that I will tell you. You know, you cannot operate a drug business by just selling it to anybody, just like a balot or vendor, ice cream. Or mga sigarilyo dyan sa highway na pag nag-stop, the crowd everywhere to sell cigarettes. The operation with drug business is always an organized crime. It is always a result of a syndicated agreement. Kayong mga prosecutor, alam ninyo yan. It has to have the organization to operate. There has to be some cooking, and there has to be some loyal lieutenants to make the distribution down to the peddlers who take the order from the above. So they would know if the supply is there or if there is no supply at all. Would it be hard for them in the coming days because nakuha yung ilang tonelada, so walang business, so they have to parlay something else, marijuana, and I have always been a hardliner. Baskit tanungin ninyo sino, talagang hardliner ako sa krimen. Magtanong kayo, sabi ng iba, pumapatay ka ba? Pumapatay ang mga tao. Many times, 3 months into the presidency, I had this encounter with, and it was covered by the networks. So, yung sabi kayo that killer, anak ng, nandoon nga kayo eh. ABS-CBN was there and everybody. They covered it. And during yung, sabi nila na pinatay ko yung istorya ng Madre, lumaba ng lay minister ng Australian. Tapos, totoo yun, sinabi ko yun sa galit. Sabi ko, earlier ko, putang inang mga to. Tignan mo mga ulo. Mas nauna pa sa magandang babae. Kasi yung, tinuro ko yung lay minister. Kasi sa Pilipino, exotic talaga yung puti, maganda talaga yan. Ganon ang it's always the reverse. Kung ikaw magpunta ka doon sa mga puti, gusto ka rin nila because it is an exotic thing. Sinabi ko sa galit ko, it was a derogation of their manhood. Putang inan to, kapangit-pangit, ito pa ang sinagot ng Miss Philippines. Parang ganon. So, totoo yun. Talagang, saka yung, alam mo kasi, hindi ako nagyayabang. Walang ata ng presidente who have had the experience of being taken also as a hostage. Yung sa Dapicol yun. And there was an outbreak. So each prisoner got hold of one hostage. Ang may naiwan kasi doon pagtakbuhan, isang yaya ng bata. Kapatid, ang nanay, kapatid ng yaya. Eh, ang problema, naiwan ng hostage. So, kinabukasan, to Sunday, Corazon Aquino called me. So, what's happening there? I said, bakit, ma'am? Pati hindi mo alam. Sabi ko, no, ma'am. Ayan, siguro ang proximity, baka akala niya dyan lang sa kanto. Sabi niya, why don't you find out for it kung ano nangyari doon? So it was a breakout, na kidnapping, tapos they were able to commander. Yan ang hiningi. Ang gago rin ng mga tao doon sa penal colony, which is kasama natin dito. Bumigay kayo eh. Yung penal authorities, bumigay, pumayag na sumakay. They were able to take control of yung saraw, no advertisement, but yung saraw na matataas sa probinsya. So nandoon sila. So I got the chopper of the armed forces. Pumunta ako doon. Sa harap talaga ng kidnapping. It was going on. It was evolving to be a kidnapping incident. But sinabi sa akin ng sundalo, Mayor, yung bata, mamamatay na, blue na. Tinignan ko. Diretso ako. Pumlamapit ako. Sabi ko, tignan ko lang yung bata. Blue na. Sabi ko, kung bitawan mo yung yaya pati bata, ako ang magpa-hostage. So I was hostage. So kaupo kami, the human waste, doon na. So overnight, pati hapon ako dumating. So nagpapalak-palak yung sapatos ko. So it was a messy and a terrible, a horrible condition inside the Kumakain kami ng pandesal sa kasama na ako. But nung alas 4 na sabi ko, total ako hostage ninyo. Why don't we go to my office? At para mag-usap tayo. Makapaglinis yung mga babae, pati kayo. Kasi may banyo sa City Hall. Pumayag. Imagine, ako yung mayor, ako yung hostage sa City Hall ko. Kaya tiniis ko lang. Putang ito, bantay ko yan. Tapos nung nandoon na, nag-surrender ng iba, may 6 na naiwan. Umuwi ako, ito, buhay pa naman sila lahat eh. Si Kalida, si Mayor na Obhagono, yung Chief of Police noon. Doresa, who was there. Galicia, the Chief Prosecutor of our place sa City Fiscal's Office. Sabi ko, pag hindi dumating ang nanay ko, hindi makita, yayariin ko itong, total ang hawak nila, knife lang man. Baka distansya lang ako ng mga 2 meters, ubos to. Then I called my brother, Binamin. I-shooter yun eh. Hindi ako magkumpiyansa na iba ko, tayong dalawa na magpasok. Alalayan mo ako, sabi ko, barilin natin lahat. Narinig ni Doresa. Yan nga sa peace process, he was a congressman then. Tumawag siya kay Aquino. Walang iba. Siya yung, wala, hindi ko narinig, pero wala mang ibang may access kay Aquino. Sino? Piskal? Walang, Galicia, walang access yun. Yung Chief of Police. Siya lang yun eh. So, sinabi niya na patay ni, tinawagan ako ni President Aquino. Sabi niya, Mayor, I want that problem solved peacefully. Do not harm anybody. Total in control na naman kaya. Ay, wala akong magawa. Would you believe 1 month after, on a visitation day, meron kasama na yung Australiana, nagtaka-isa naman sila. Tapos sinabi ko, nung pagdating ko, naghanap sila sa akin. Di pumunta ako, sabi ko, sige, mag-usap tayo ulit. Sabi nila, wag, Mayor, hindi na ako pinayagan ng peace in on kasi yayariin ka talaga. Bakit? Inong negotiation, sabi kasi nila, wala kaming kaso nito. Sabi ko, wala to, hindi to kasali. Bale, experience lang to. Mapardon kami. Sabi ko, mga next week yan. Istorya mo lang yan. When life is in danger, you can't promise even the throne of Satan. Ikaw na doon, paupuin ko. Itong ina mo. So, lang ako ng oo. Ngayon, sabi ko, pero wag mong galawin yung mga babae. Usap kami. Binigyan sila ng, sabi ko, yan ang hingin ko, do not harm the women. Because sabi ko talaga, pag may mangyari dyan, papatayin ko kayong lahat. Anong gabi, sabi ng mga sundalo, there were a lot of speaking, crying. Talagang nirape kung ganon. Ngayon yung first na lumabas na babae na ginawa nilang cover, nakita ko yung blood stain sa skirt. Sabi ko, mga animal na to. So, nung nakalabas yung patay na, bata, patay na, kasama ng basita doon nga ng tatay sa... Kaya nung nag-alasay na, alam ko itong mga sundalo eh. Put them under stress for about 24 hours. Huwag ka magkumpiyansa, maniwala pa yan. Yung mag-ganon, nandiyan na, tapos sabihin mo, hold ka lang. After 24 hours, gutom na, uhaw na ang... May mga sungay ito, hindi na maniwala sa iyo yan. Basta puputok na lang yan. Hindi, nagkaputokan na. Sabi ko, tudasin natin lahat. Because may isang inmate kasi doon na sundalo. Kabaro eh. So ito namang mga PC, pero kasi army yun. He was allowed to go in and out. Ganon ang sakit talaga nito mga to eh. So mayroong mga umuwi ng mga CHDF pa noon. Kinuha yung armas na nilagay lang dyan sa labas, tabi lang ng kampo sa kantin, dinala sa loob. Kaya so they had this bargaining. Putok. Talagang pinatay ko lahat. Ayun na to, yung EKG. On the record man, nandoon ang lahat, GMA, ABS-CBN. ABS-CBN, isa ka pa. Dapat na hostage ka si Gabi Lopez doon, sali kita. Totoo lang, kung ako naging presidente, tanungin ko kayo dyan sa publiko, makuha ka ninyo yung property ng Milo? Kung hindi ako na presidente, mayara kaya yung abuso ng mga network? Sino nakaputang ina ninyong lahat? Ikaw, Gabi Concepcion, mukha kang pera, putang ina ka. Totoo man. Yes. Ako kasi tumakbo ng presidente. Okay? Walang bumibigay sa akin ng pera. Naintindihan ko yan. Nationwide to. Wala akong problema dyan. Walang bumigay na may pera dito. I just relied on mga Davao. Si Tony Boy, Charles Gonzales, may mga pera yan. Puro kababata ko yan. Ito si Dominguez, dito ba? May-ari ng Marco Polo ng Davao yan. Yan ang valedictorian namin nung kindergarten kami. Yan ang nag-graduate. Kaya itong mga bright, totoo yan. Itong mga bright, marunong talaga. Marunong sila Kasi hindi naman nahirap kami lahat o mayaman. Pero mag-super rich ka, marunong talaga itong mga gago na ito paano mong pera. Wala nagbibigay. Kaya wala akong pera. But sa rating hanggang 3, 4, 4, 3 lang ako. Lalo na Maynila, 4. Puno lumabas yung landslide ako dito. Nagbigay ko kunti-kunti. So last minute, makinig ka, Gabi Lopez, nag-place ako ng advertisement. Tinanggap ninyo yung pera kong 2 million para kasi wala akong advertisement. Kita mo yung sa debate, yung debates, tapos every break, sinisingitan nila ng propaganda ng mga kandidato. Ako ang wala. Kasi wala man akong pambayad. Ngayon, tinanggap ninyo ang pera ko, but you never showed the advertisement. And despite the fact that we were placed way ahead, pinalabas ninyo despite of a court injunction. Now, wag because Trillanes was using little children, which is not really allowed by law. Common sense should have warned you that talagang there was a violation of the law. And ang tinanggap mo ng pera ko na hindi mo ginamit para sa show ko is actually staffa. And I'm not the only one. Chis Escudero, ako marami kami. Tanggap ng kantap kasi kayo ng pera in the name of greed. Tanggap ng pera. Tapos kung makasalita kayo, pati yung inquirer, kaming mga kumbaboy ninyo, kaming mga taga-gobyerno, you picture us to be the corrupt, ano. Excuse me. Yeah. Fortunately, hindi ako ganun. I would not have survived. Now, bakit ako nanalo? Heard about Jaime Marcos? Well, no problem. Because I know Jaime. Why? Because my father was a cabinet member of the first set of cabinet way back when he won for the first time. My father was Secretary of General Services. It was the Bureau of Supply, lahat ng... Kasi kaya sinuportahan, ako ni Jaime, kasi suportado ko rin siya. At Bongbong was inihari, kasi hindi, walang ayaw ko nga tumakbo. Tapos, yun, dumating yung mga pera ko konti, kasi during the last 4 days, nag-shoot ako ng 32. Steady sila. Now, what was my message? Sa debates, I was the first one to just say, that is all that I have for you. What was my message? Corruption, drugs, criminality, economics. Sabi ko sa inyo, bobo ako dito sa economic. Hanggang, as a matter of fact, mas bata ito sila sa akin, as a matter of fact, ako yung first set sa K-12. Noong panahon, K-12 na ako. Sabi ng anak ko, itong si Kitty Brighto, yung nanay nito, valedictorian eh. Kaya ko sabi ko marunong mag-negosyo. Ngayon nakita ko na yung mga, paano sila mag-squeeze in ng opportunity. Ito si Kitty, sabi niya, Braten, why don't you tell Secretary Briones to do away with K-12? But just make it longer. Sabi ko, anak, dahan-dahan ka. Makakasagasa ka ng tao. Ang tatay mo, original K-12 talaga to. Took me 7 years to finish high school. Second year na, expelled na ako sa Ateneo. So I finished doon sa Digos. Classmate ko yan si Doresa. Doresa is a brilliant guy. Yan ang namin, valedictorian. So ang valedictorian niya, Sane, Doresa, Aguirre, Delphin Lorenzana, valedictorian yan. Sa klase niya, valedictorian din sa eskwelahan yan. Lahat sila valedictorian. Ako, last 10 ako sa klase. Tanungin mo yung justices, pero okay lang man. So, where am I now? Where are they now? Valedictorians, trabahante ko lang. Yan ang buhay. That is the... So, sino ang congressman ko? Nograles, pati ito si Lord Velasco. Kay kaibigan, Jaime Abet Garcia, Mindanao, isa lang. Si Agusan del Norte. Bumaliktad. Hindi nakatiis. Mahirap ang pag-ibig. Makikinig yung asawa ko. Noon yun. Noon. Uy, tagal na. Hindi man sabihin na walang ano lang. So, yan lang nagsuporta sa akin. Kaya hindi ko alam, except for the few guys, classmate ko, taga San Beda, hindi ko alam pa yung sinong sinuportahan ninyo. Kasi kung nalaman ko na majority si Grace o si Rojas, bababa ako dito, bahala kayo sa buhay ninyo. Now, let me begin by just saying, I'm revealing for the first time to the nation. Drugs can be operated only by one means. It has to be organized, correct? Correct. And the members there have to conspire with each other, so making them equally liable criminally. Correct? Correct. You have to proceed against all who appears to be responsible, therefore. Correct? Correct. That I cannot be so choosy in my judgment, because the act of one is the act of all, equally responsible for the distribution. Correct? Correct. There is no law which says that I can only enforce this, the grave crimes, grave offenses, only against the rich and those who have the money, but I cannot prosecute the poor. So if it is a organized crime and the tentacles are there, itong pinakamataas na mayaman, pati itong pinakamahirap, wala akong magagawa. My oath to Mopi says to diba? Nandiyan sa enforce obey the Constitution and enforce the laws of the land. It does not exempt except those who are poor. Yun ang ibig kong sabihin, yun talagang lumaban. Ito ang mahirap kasi because yung procedure natin is American, itong revised penal code is Spanish. Pero you have to operate within the bounds of the law. I will not tolerate people shooting children, and I will never allow parang hindi ka naman lalaki, nakatali na, why do you have to do that? O nakasurrender na. Hindi ka lalaki niyan, so wag mo akong salihin sa kaputahan na ganun. Ang utong ko is that go out, enforce the law against all, and you have to take the guy into the custody of the law. You have to overcome a resistance, whether light, slight, or serious. And if there's a weapon, be it a bolo, a knife, and you feel that your attack and your life is in jeopardy, shoot. Wala tayong problema dyan. Kayo dyan, fiscal, mga justice, that's the law. Kung wala akong magawa, sabihin mo na namatay sa enkwentro ito. Pero kung sinalvage mo, ibang istorya na yan. Ang salvaging kasi can also afflict, magtakod saan, and it will be practiced by everybody. The criminals and the police and the criminals would do the same thing. Yung kayong taga-Mindanao, taga-Davao, di ba? We lose about, at that time, 3-4 policemen a day. It's because yung impunity na, hindi ka pero yung impunity na maraming patay. I'm sorry to disappoint itong mga human rights. Hindi niya ako kilala. That's the problem. But I was asked during the debates, how will you treat terrorism and drugs? I said, I will treat them harshly. So if you can find the appropriate synonym of what is harsh, then that's it. Ngayon, today, the drug problem or issue is all throughout the world. They have taken over the Bamboo Triad and the 14K sa lahat ng operasyon sa Southeast Asia. And ikaw noon na tigaluto ka, we are only given a franchise for distribution. Now, I made public yung matrix ni Parahinog because he was there in the middle. And the Albuera mayor, sabi nila na yun ang extrajudicial killing kasi binaril doon sa loob ng detention. You know, as the chief of the bureaucracy, as the one in control of the police, sino man paniwalaan ko? Yung testimony ng mga inmates, ang witnesses ang inmates man, or yung mga police ko. Common sense would say that doon ka maniwala sa police mo. Bakit ako maniwala doon sa mga priso na sinabi na, well, let the courts take it. Ngayon, sabi ni Aguirre, sabi niya, Mayor, it's murder. Go fine. File the case. Wala pong problema. Pero I will protect people who are really doing their work. Now, if that is the theory of the case, I will believe them. Kasi pulis ko yan. Now, the only reason why sabihin nila noon walang patay, it was a paralyzed law enforcement. Maraming corrupt na pulis until now. Cebu City, baski ikaw taga roon, mga taga Visayas, alam ninyo yan. Manila, sinabi ko, totoo, I almost became a liar because I said that I will finish the job 3 to 6 months. But when I became the president, when I had already access to every information, anak ng 9 generals of the police were involved. And believe me, 2 months into my term, first 2 months, hindi pa kami nag-operate kasi kapa ako ng kapa. Sino ba dito sa Metro Manila ang corrupt? But there were already a series of killings. And alam mo kung sinong namatay niyan? Tignan mo. Hindi pa kami nag-operate. And hindi ko lang masabi, sino yung namatay? Bakit sabi ng mga punerarya, puno na ang walang claimants? Well, my God, because they were all aliens. Alam na ninyo kung sino yan. They were operating and the police itong courts nila knew them. Kaya napuno yung punerarya, walang nag-claim because they were strangers in our land. 2 months after na set up ko, yun na. Well, kung may if there's one stupid policeman there killing, ganito yan eh. It does not apply to the 2 deaths in Caloocan. I will disabuse your mind. But ako, ayaw ko gustong sabihin, Senator Pangilinan is my friend. At may utang na loob ako dyan kasi itong anak kong si Inday, yung mayor ngayon, when she was grade 6, grade 5, sabi ko, anak, anong gusto mong birthday gift ko sa iyo? Sabi niya pa, gusto kong makasama, magkain kami ni Sharon Cuneta. Mag-isang anak ko lang yung ngayon, 2 na ang anak ko, ang babae. Kaya may reserba naman ako, isa. May pangalawa na akong asawa. Yan si Veronica. Sabi ko, right, yung nanay niyan, valedictoria niya. Walang bayad-bayad sa eskwela ng nilet na yan. Kaya yan, lahat yan halos na ilibing, hindi pa kayo nagtataka? Bakit walang claimants? Almost to 1,000. Well, sinong pumatay? Hindi pa ako nag-operate eh. So hindi ko sinasabi yung mga police generals. It would not be right because I do not have the evidence. But most likely, the persons interested in doing demoways, a group that gusto nilang mawala yan sila. Ngayon ako, gagawin ko rin. Basta lumaban, patayin mo na lang. Rather than be choosy at that moment na ano ito. Kaya ako believe, the best example na sa order ko nang galit ako, yung sa Caloocan. There was this CCTV footage na sinasaksak na siya ng deranged addict. He kept on parrying, nahawakan pa niya yung blade na dito. It was until only after he fell down and the idiot was on top of him, alam niyang mamamatay na sa binira niyang 2 beses. Kayo, saludo ako sa police na yan. Sinabi ko, hanapin mo yan. That is actually yung nagalit na. Sabi ko, do not salvaging. Kasi masisira ako niya. I get to answer for everything because ako yung mayor. I do not call myself president. Nakukurnihan ako. Mayor lang kasi matagal ako mayor. If you want to address me really, say mayor. Pag yun ako presidente, hindi kita kausapin. Nakukurnihan ako. Sa Bisaya yan na, mahilasan ko. Itong drug ngayon is being operated by the 14K. Bamboo Triad. They have taken over. They are cooking the shabu on the high seas. Tapos, itatapo. Kita mo sa region 1, maraming mga bins na empty, may Chinese character. It's actually Taiwan, ang lahat na. And I cannot blame the Chinese government or the people. Because we were doing it here before. Marawi, what precipitated, what was the flashpoint of Marawi? They were serving a warrant for the arrest of a drug personality. So there was a far fight. Lumabas na yung totoo. Now, we'll admit that we knew that they had firearm, but I never expected it would be that enormous. On the 3rd month na tayo going forth, they have still the ordnance and the bullets at ang lahat. May mga barret pa sila. Excuse me, yung paglanding ko, yung pollens, may allergy ako dyan. Yan ang problema. Ang kawawa nito ang Amerika, tignan mo. They will take back yung pang-ano nila sa akin. Kasi yung heroin, Travis, dito ang siya bululutuin lang yan. The favorite talaga nila is cocaine and heroin. It's grown organic. It's a plant, poppy. Kaya hindi masyado masira. Pero itong shabu, alam ba ninyo yung shabu? Ang tubig na, tubig ng baterya. Yan sa baterya. Yan. Hindi yung tubig. Tubig ngayon, tubig na lang yan. Yung original na baterya natin na luma na acid na if there's a spillage, you see something bubbles. Ngayon, ang transshipment is Philippines. Ganito ngayon. Genetically, I would say that ang Amerikano talaga ang the richest market. I don't know why, but itong atin, maliit lang to. Sila lahat, pati artista. Hindi ka, paski tayo dito. Kita mo naman yan, kita mo parang gunggong. Hindi lahat, pero yung combo. Diyan yan nag-umpisa eh. Yung mga bangag talaga halos. Hindi naman lahat. Kaya maraming sumali sa kampanya ko yung sila Jimmy Bundok. Kasi they realize the serious dimension of the drug problem. Kung maniwala ang Amerika, mabuti. Kung hindi kayo maniwala, mabuti. Basta sinabi ko sa inyo. Now, sabi ko, what is my standard? In Davao, nung nag-mayor ako, kasi prosecutor ako, and I've seen so many cases, maniwala ka ba pagdating sa korte, putang ina, alum pala ang hinahawakan ko. Ganon ang switching sa pulis noon. O hindi magsipot. Kaya pinapa-aresto ko talaga. Hindi ako papayag yung sabi na sa doon, taken for granted yan, na is absent on a mission. Putang inang mission ka, halika dito. Your Honor, I move to side this idiot in contempt. Kaya ako pumapayag ng ganon. Nung piskal ako, walang pulis-pulis. Anong pulis? Let's ka. Testify ka dito. Kaya, nung nag-mayor ako, alam na nila. So, nung I was trying to, I am a president. I build a nation for the human rights people. But I enforce all the laws of the land. And I have to enforce it even if it is not to your liking. But I'm telling you well in advance that yung kayong nandito, it's a political thing doon sa Davao. Because nung sabi ko sa Davao noon, first time became mayor, alam ko na ang droga. At alam ko lahat because ang tatay ko nga gobernador. So alam ko ang laro. I could get my information from anybody, from anyone, kasi alam ko yun. So I said, do not destroy my city because I will kill you. Do not destroy the youth of the land because I will kill you. Alam mo tayo dito, walang milyonaryo sa atin. Sino bang? Wala talaga. Ni isa. Dito, si congressman. Siguro. Pero, Delpen Lorenzana, nakilala ko to siya. When I was mayor, he brought in the 2nd Ranger Battalion ng Scout Rangers. Siya yung nagdala doon, kaya nakilala kami. And after that, we became friends, but bumilib ako sa tao. When I was shopping for my cabinet, I remembered him. Talagang honest, tapos stricto. So, matagal na yan sa Amerika siya. Alam ko siya, agent yan siya. Pero okay lang, sabi ko. Kasi magbulahan naman kami dalawa. Ito yung sabihin mo sa kanila. Ako, many issues ako dyan sa ano. I do not hate America. I mean, wala akong dynamics sa mga tao. As a matter of fact, yun si asawa ko nung ngayon. Mas ano, OFW. Kaya lang sa bisita ko doon. One time na bisita, pag ko sabi niya, buntis man ako. Kuna, naloko na. Uwi ka na lang dito. Ano man, po yan kasimple ang buhay ko. Magpunta kayo, makita man yung bahay ko. Bakit? Magtiis kaya kung meron. Ganito yan. Yan, tingnan ninyo yung iba Pinasok ko yan sa double your money. Tingnan nyo, I encourage every one of you. Sabihin mo lang, pakisilip yung kay Duterte. Kasi yun, I was a prosecutor in a very troubled place. Ayaw nyo na patayin talaga ako. Kasi sabi ko, one of these days, matamaan talaga ako nito. But because I love my country more than anybody else, tinanggap ko yung challenge, even yung Tanod Bayan where I have to travel around Mindanao most of the time. It was really kaya ako noon pagsabi ko, do not fuck with my country. Because I'll kill you. No, find me a law, international or internal regulation that says that I cannot say those words as a leader of a country. Is it wrong to say, to protect my country and to threaten you? I have every right to threaten anybody who would attempt or actually destroy my country. I will really kill you. Ito namang masabi ko, walang milyonaryo dito. Bakit? Ito magprangkahan tayo. When you reach 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, pagka nagkasakit ka, yung pensyon natin sa gobyerno, sapat kaya yan? We have to eat. And you have to eat with your family. Lalo na may mga grandchildren, kamaluwang ka sa pera, lalo na sa apo. Paghingi ng ganito, you think yung pensyon natin will last? If you get to live, when you retire, would you get to live for 15 years? You think you have the money to support yourself? Who will buy the oxygen for you? Who will pay the antibiotics? Who will put the blood chemistry na? It's 5,000, isang tusok lang. Sino? Sino maglibing sa inyo? Sino magbili ng kabaong nyo? It's our children. Maswerte tayo kung ang mga anak natin mabuti. But how about the others? Ang masakit sa akin, maniwala kayo, okay lang pag hindi. Yung mga OFW, because some of them endure rape every night. Because in our countries, there are countries, ayaw kong sabihin, that when you are there as a helper or as a slave brought from the slave markets of Africa, you are treated as a slave and you can be used. Tapos pinapakain pa basura. Hindi naman lahat. I'm trying to say, hindi ko nagsabihin sa inyo, nalulabasa ninyo yan, na ang pagkain makatulog lang, alas 2, alas 3. The most humiliating degradation of, yung gamitin ka ng mister, yung anak na may anak na binata, tapos yung bayaw ng putang inang, yun. Gamit lahat yan. Kaya alam nila, kaya pinapakain nila ng pilis. Hindi naman lahat. Hindi ko nila lahat. Hindi lahat ganon. Pero yung dito ma-assign ka ng gaya ng Abra, ganon, patay. Riyadh, wala na. Wala yan kasi. Ngayon, magpakamatay ang trabaho ang tatay sa ibang lugar, he's an engineer construction. Dito yung they keep sending money hoping to na mga anak nila makapag-aral. They are now the targets of the small sindikato from the big syndicate. Kasi alam nila na ito may steady pera. Ang market ng shabu hindi mayaman. Ang mga mayaman, cocaine yan, pati heroin. Walang mayaman dito na nagamit ng shabu. Ang market nila ang mahirap. Kunti-kunti lang yan, pero buong tondo, sige man, Santana. pardon me for saying this, but it's sabi nga, do not be offended because, you know, I have a Chinese grandfather and a Maranao mother. So, no problem. Murag ininsik gani nga. Ginagmay lang, volume. Hindi yung malaki. Sige, ginagmay. Kasi alam nila marami. Nung itong bata na ito, targeted dito sa pabilihan ng pabilihan hanggang magbigay. Maisip ko lang na ang nanay, hini. Ang tatay, magkaroon ng spinal problem sa kabigat ng trabaho nila doon. Tapos pagdating dito, for all of their sacrifices, for all of the hardships, and for all the humiliations, pagdating dito yung anak nila, walang nangyari. Bangag pa. Maligahayan ngayon. Sabi ko, putang, patahin ko talaga. If he cannot demand a pound of flesh, bantay kayo sa amin. Kaya itong mga malaki, tanay-hayarian ko talaga, anak ng ito maniya. Believe me. I am prepared to go whatever hell or priso. Jesus Maria. Total, si Aguirre man ang ikuputang. Kung may kubol yung mga yawa na, hindi may kubol ako sarili. At kung maswertihan ako, baka may tiga-service pa. Secretary of Justice. God damn it. Yan ang So, araw-araw ito, hindi ito mahinto. Nakikita ko kasi sinasakyan talaga. AKJ. So be it. So be it. Make it the issue all throughout my term. I am not available anymore for re-election. So why should I be intimidated of itong mga human rights, makademanda doon na ito si Gascon. Si spokesman of the liberal. Kita mo naman araw-araw yan ang ginagawa. Teenager din. You know, that day, the day after rather, namatay yun si Kian. But because of drugs really are flooding the country and Caloocan, there was a police operation. Pagdating ng pulis, inunan dito. May vest, may protective tinamaan dito, patay. And one another police sa Surigao. That day, 2 pulis. Na hindi pa ito, kung tignan mo, hindi talaga ulul tumpot, puro politika. May nakita sa footage, may dalang malita, may 2 years old, tangan-tanga niya. Pamangkin pala niya. Check-in sa hotel, he raped the child, chop-chop, nilagay nila sa malita. Labas siya, wala siya malagyan, iniwan niya yung bata, parang kinilaw. Bulacan. 5 pamilya, ni-rape yung bulag na nanay, yung asawa ng anak, tapos pinakialaman pa yung 1-year-old. Tapos, ito na lang. You are familiar with the statistics, especially crime. Tell me honestly, bilangin mo yung mga victims ng drugs, rape, multiple murder, of recent memory, police. How many police drug-connected na namatay sa akin? Ilang police ko? 32. Bago lang yan, sa akin lang yan. 32. O 32 if you want to. Army, marami. Kasi doon sa Mindanao, pag break mo ng kung ang police patay, nakaharap niyan sa M60, it has to be ang entry is always the army. Mas maraming patay sa Mindanao na military sa drug-connected raids. I think sa military, almost more than 100. Kasi minsan tapunan ng IED. Kaya yung sa Marawi. Ano ang umpisa noon? Di ba a drug personality was being taken in? And they were not able to do it because lumabas na yung armas. At bakit ganun karami? Sabi ko sa inyo, ito, ayan si Delfino. Nung ako ang nagtawag ng command conference for the first time, we were talking almost everything, terrorism, threats from the outside. Pagkatapos, there was this drug, pero statistics. Bago magtapos, sabi ko, ayan si Defense Secretary. Gentlemen and ladies, yung mga, sabi ko na, I think we forgot to really discuss. I see the dark clouds looming in the horizon. And I told them, prepare for the coming of the ISIS and extremism. Extremist na kasi ang Abu Sayyaf. Sinabi ko sa kanila yan. Then I bought plenty of it. ISIS, binigay ko sa kanila. Lahat sabi ko, must reading. A must read for everybody, police pati military. Basahin ninyo yan. And prepare. Dumating nga. Now, why are we taking us too long? Sabi ko nga sila, they have to revise the doctrine after this. Mga doctrines nila. Because ang training ng Scout Rangers, mga rivers, gano'n. But it ain't so now. Kita mo ang gera ng Iraq, Syria, Libya. And it took them to take Aleppo and itong Mosul until now kasi there is a natural cover. Concrete building. So they were positioned there. I've lost about mga 2/3 sa sniping. Nandoon lahat ang Barrett. Yung Barrett that he can take you down in almost a kilometer and a half. Kaya kataman, mayroon sila. Kaya ang casualties ko, bilangin mo na nila yan. What was really funding the terrorism in Mindanao? As I have told you before, repeatedly in my drugs. That is why nagkalat sa Visayas ang malaki. Ang tinamaan, ang Leyte, maraming bangag na dyan. Wala na talagang silbi yung utak. Yung Albuera Mayor, yung si Espinosa, putang inang yawa na yun. Siya yun Eastern Visayas, Western Visayas o dikta. Yung mag-asawa, pinatay dyan sa pier. Galing Batangas ata yun. Then, ito si Mabilog. Sumibat na ang luko-luko. Kaya gusto ko nga na mabigyan sila ng briefing, pero national security. I'll just invite them, pati si Drone. Pinsan kasi niya yan si ano. You're worried about extrajudicial killing. Count the number of Filipinos and children who lost their lives for nothing. Except that. Rape. Mayor pa ako. 18 months. Pamangkin niya, kinuha niya doon sa nana. Ito ba yung pamangkin ko? Tapos nawala bigla. Kumusta ka? Kumusta? Maya wala, hindi na makita. So, everybody started to yung parte nila, only 1 meters away, nakita nila yung bata, buka na yung abdominal cavity. Talagang bumigay. Nandoon ako. Alam mo, ang putang ina nung tinanong ko siya, bakit mo naman ginawa yan? Alam mo ang sagot niya? Ito, gusto niya maikat, okay na. Gano'n. Bangag eh. Gano'n talaga ako, Mayor. Pagla, butan ako ng gusto, yung kambing namin, yun na lang ang inihindot ko. Ikaw, Mayor, kasagutin ka ng gano'n. Anong gawin mo? Sagutin ba ako ng gano'n? Sus Mariusep. So, yung isang araw, ano ba yung bago? Na pinag-iba niya, durog ako eh. He committed a crime. Kalimutan ko na lang. Mas matanda ako sa lahat sa kanila eh. I think it was about rape again or killing. Tapos, yung nagdala ng ano, yung nag-chop-chop ng bata. Tinan mo ang sagot. Tinanong siya ng, bakit mo naman ginawa yun? Basag ako sa droga eh. Tangina. Buti ka, hindi ka umabot ng Davao. So, ganon ang sagot mo sa akin, pareha ka doon sa hindutero ng kambing. Bullshit kayo. You must have heard me. Well, mga classmate ko, walang kilala nila ako. Mga brats ko kilala. That is my characterization of my administration. Talagang anak ako sa crime. Sabi ko sa inyo, there will be no corruption. Marami na akong, even kasama namin, I fired one during a cabinet meeting. Yan kami, kami, nibit. Sabi ko, you're fired. Go out of this room. I do not want to see you, son of a bitch. Umalis ka. Yung harap-harapan na lying to his teeth, tapos ganun ang isagot mo sa akin. Lahat ng korupsyon, pati yung si Paner, yung babae na, ganun yan eh, pag pinaalis mo, magpunta ka sa oposisyon. Diba, Sugar Regulatory Board, mag-employ ka ng mga kaibigan mo, ilagay mo 200,000 a month, mga consultants, nabuang ka. Ang sweldo ko nga 47,000. Putang ina. Buti gayon in-increasean. Naging 100 na. So ilan lang yung 100? Tag 50 ang isang pamilya. Ang para sa akin, kaya sabi ko, what was really my complaint? Maliit ang sweldo. Totoo yan. For my needs, maliit talaga. 2 families eh. Hindi naman matanda lahat. Yung bunso ko, sabi ko, nasa nanay niya. Ay yung apo, rumami na lalo. Yan si Conchita Morales, kapatid niya ni Mans, son-in-law ko. Pero yung lahat dinmanda mo, puro naman oposisyon. No? Magdemanda ka man ng isa o dalawa dyan. Pati lahat. Hindi ako tagtantangin mo yung mga classmates mo. Pag nabi kong putang ina, ano pakialam ko. Ewan ko kung, I do not know if I'm an added blessing to the country of the Republic of the Philippines or I'm a burden to the people. But I can assure you, nandyan na ako, there will be no corruption. Wala yung mga deals na malta. That's why I fired this guy. Going to Austria to buy a bomber truck, 18 million. Sabi niya, grant. Grant is, pag i-grant ka ng pera, when it is a grant and accepted by the Republic of the Philippines, it becomes public money. Even if it's a grant from Austria, if it is public money, you have to go into the bidding process. Wag mo akong bulahin. Mas marunong ako sa iyo. Kaya nga matagal ako sa eskwelahan kasi natuto ako ng lahat ng pagnanakaw, paglahat. Tapos bulahin mo ako. Matalaala ko tuloy si Justice Solidum. Sino ka na isang akin? Lorente, yung classmate natin. Ang mapronounce na Justice Solidum, kaya hindi na last syllable lang. Peh! Putay, Lorente, pati ako tindig. Sabi niya, God damn it, I did not call you! Sabi ko, I thought, sir, my name was called. Because you are always talking there. I have observed you always talkative. God damn it, come here. You sit there, Brad. Pagdating ko sa Brad, sabi niya, okay, you're a show off. Recite. Di pinatindig niya ako. Oh, gano'n ako. Recite. Sabi ko, sir, there is no question yet, sir. Sabi niya, God damn it. Do not scratch your head and distribute your dandruff. Leave it on your head because that's only one that you have. Ang buhay talagang malupit. Ay, kami na dumaan dyan ng mura. God damn it, youth. Kaya ako pag magalit, inimimik ko si Solidum. God damn it! Pero ano yun? Lahat kami sa remedial, ang dali namin natapos. Sa remedial. Kasi do not scratch your head and distribute your dandruff in this room. Leave it on your head because it's only one that you have. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we thank the President of the Philippines, President Rodrigo Duterte.